Welcome to our exploration of what happens when we choose not to react to our thoughts. This journey into the depths of our mind and spirit is both revealing and transformative. Let us begin by understanding the very nature of thoughts. Thoughts are like the endless waves on the ocean's surface. They come and go, influenced by the winds of our experiences, emotions, and memories. Imagine for a moment that you are sitting by a serene lake, watching these waves arise and fall away. This is a powerful metaphor for observing our thoughts. Now, what happens when we don't react to these thoughts? The first significant change is the cultivation of inner peace. When we observe our thoughts without attachment, without jumping into the fray to push them away or pull them closer, we start to experience a profound calmness. This is akin to watching the waves without getting wet. The peace comes from knowing that while thoughts are part of us, they do not define us. This leads us into the heart of our first lesson, the liberation from the constant chatter of our minds. Often we find ourselves entangled in an endless dialogue with our thoughts. What if I had done this differently? What will happen tomorrow? Why did they say that to me? These questions and countless others like them can cause unrest, but when we step back and choose not to react, we break the cycle of mental noise that often distracts us from the present moment. Imagine living each day where your decisions, feelings, and actions are not dictated by every passing thought. This is not about suppressing our thoughts or emotions. Rather, it is about gaining the freedom to choose which thoughts deserve our energy and attention. Consider this. How often have you reacted impulsively to a thought only to regret it later? This common human experience occurs because we confuse thoughts with truths. By not reacting, we give ourselves the chance to respond from a place of clarity and wisdom. We allow each thought to present itself, and like a leaf floating down a river, we watch it go by without attachment. The practical advice here is simple yet profound. Begin by observing your thoughts. You might start with just a minute or two each day where you sit quietly and notice what passes through your mind. Do not judge or engage with the thoughts. Just watch them as you would watch birds flying across the sky. This practice is the cornerstone of mindfulness and is incredibly powerful in cultivating a peaceful mind. As we move deeper into understanding the impact of non-reaction, we encounter the concept of true freedom. Freedom in this context is the liberation from automatic reactions, the patterns that have perhaps ruled us for years. How freeing it would be to realize that not every thought demands a reaction, nor does every emotion need to be acted upon. Now, let us ponder a deep question. What are you without your reactive thoughts? Who are you when you do not automatically follow every thought that arises? Navigating relationships with non-reaction. As we continue exploring the profound impact of not reacting to our thoughts, let's shift our focus to how this practice can transform our relationships. Relationships, whether with family, friends, or colleagues, often serve as mirrors reflecting our thoughts and emotions. By choosing not to react impulsively to our thoughts, we open a new pathway for healthier and more meaningful connections. In the realm of relationships, our reactions are frequently fueled by immediate thoughts and emotions that arise in the heat of the moment. These reactions can sometimes be disproportionate or misaligned with our true feelings or intentions. By not reacting, we create a space, a pause that allows us to respond more thoughtfully and appropriately. This space is where understanding and empathy flourish. Consider a common scenario. Someone says something that triggers you, and immediately your mind is flooded with defensive or angry thoughts. The typical reaction might be to respond in kind, which can escalate the situation. Now, imagine instead that you observe these thoughts, acknowledge their presence, but choose not to let them dictate your response. In this space, you have the opportunity to consider the other person's perspective, perhaps seeing underlying concerns or stresses that influence their words. This approach not only prevents conflict but also deepens your understanding of the other person. This mindful approach can significantly deepen our relationships. When we respond rather than react, we communicate more effectively. We express ourselves clearly and listen more deeply. This fosters a mutual respect and a stronger bond, as each person feels heard and valued. The practical advice here is to practice the pause. When a thought or emotion arises in an interaction, take a moment to breathe and observe what you are feeling and thinking. Ask yourself, is my immediate reaction based on the present situation, or is it being colored by past experiences or future anxieties? This pause can transform potential conflicts into opportunities for connection and growth. Furthermore, by not reacting to every thought in our relationships, we demonstrate a profound respect for ourselves and for others. We show that we are not at the mercy of our thoughts and that we value the relationship enough to engage with it mindfully. This practice also leads to an increased self-awareness. As we observe our thoughts and choose our responses, we learn a great deal about our own triggers and patterns. This awareness is invaluable, as it empowers us to make changes that can lead to more fulfilling and harmonious relationships. Now, here is a deep question to consider. How might your relationships change if you viewed every interaction as an opportunity to practice non-reaction, cultivating emotional resilience through serenity? In this third part of our exploration, we delve into how the practice of not reacting to our thoughts significantly bolsters our emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is our ability to adapt to stressful situations or crises with flexibility, and to recover from difficulties with a sense of growth and strength. By mastering non-reaction, we cultivate a serene mind, which is a cornerstone of this resilience. The concept of emotional resilience is akin to the flexibility of a tree in a storm. Trees that can bend in the fierce wind are the ones that survive and thrive. Similarly, when we face emotional storms, our ability to observe our thoughts without being swept away by them helps us remain rooted and flexible. When we choose not to react immediately to our thoughts, especially those that are negative or distressing, we prevent them from escalating into overwhelming emotions. This non-reaction gives us the clarity to assess whether our thoughts are based on reality or if they are distorted by our fears, insecurities, or biases. This clarity is crucial because it helps us respond in ways that are constructive rather than destructive. Imagine you are faced with a challenging situation, perhaps a setback at work or a personal disappointment. The initial flood of thoughts might be self-critical or despairing. If you react to these thoughts uncritically, they can spiral into anxiety, depression, or anger. However, if you observe these thoughts and choose not to engage with them, you create a space where calmness can enter. In this calmness, you are better equipped to see the situation objectively, to learn from it, and to devise a plan to move forward. This is emotional resilience in action. The practical advice for cultivating this resilience starts with the regular practice of mindfulness meditation. This practice trains you to become an observer of your thoughts, helping you develop the habit of creating a pause between thought and reaction. During meditation, when thoughts arise, gently acknowledge them and then return your focus to your breath or a mantra. This simple but powerful practice enhances your ability to remain calm and composed in everyday life. Additionally, it is helpful to regularly remind ourselves that thoughts are transient. They come and go if we let them. By internalizing this truth, we reinforce our resilience. We begin to understand that no thought has the power to control us unless we allow it to. Another aspect of building emotional resilience is to cultivate a positive mindset. This does not mean ignoring negative thoughts or emotions. Rather, it involves acknowledging them but also making a conscious effort to focus on positive outcomes and solutions. This balance prevents us from becoming overwhelmed by negativity and helps us bounce back from setbacks more quickly. Here is a deep question to reflect on. If you viewed every challenging emotion or thought as an opportunity to strengthen your emotional resilience, how might your approach to difficulties change? The path to self-realization. Through mastery of thought. In this final segment of our exploration, we address how the practice of not reacting to our thoughts not only enhances our day-to-day life, but also propels us towards the pinnacle of personal development, self-realization. Self-realization is the profound understanding of our true nature, our purposes, and our deepest values. It is about coming to know ourselves beyond the surface level of our personalities and social identities. By mastering the art of not reacting to our thoughts, we embark on a transformative journey inward. Each non-reaction is a step away from the illusions cast by our minds and a step towards the essence of our being. This journey is about discovering that much of what we believe about ourselves is shaped by fleeting thoughts and reactions that do not truly define us. Think of each thought as a cloud passing through the sky of your mind. If you constantly focus on each cloud, reacting to its shape and movement, you might miss the vast, serene blue sky behind it. Similarly, if you fixate on and react to every thought, you might lose sight of the vastness of your true self, which is unbounded and serene. The practice of non-reaction helps us realize that we are not our thoughts. Most thoughts are products of conditioned responses, societal inputs, and past experiences. They are often not reflections of our true selves. When we stop reacting to every thought, we start experiencing moments of profound peace and clarity. In these moments, our true nature reveals itself, not as a concept, but as a lived experience. Here's a practical exercise to deepen this understanding. Engage in regular self-inquiry. This can be done by sitting quietly and asking yourself, "Who am I?" Allow thoughts to arise and pass without engaging with them. Through this practice, you begin to separate your sense of self from the stream of thoughts and identify more with the observer of those thoughts, the deeper self. Moreover, this journey fosters a compassionate attitude towards ourselves and others. As we see our thoughts for what they are, impermanent and not entirely under our control, we develop a gentler approach to dealing with our own mental patterns and those of others. This compassion is a natural outcome of recognizing that everyone is similarly engaged in a struggle with their thoughts. Finally, not reacting to thoughts paves the way for a life lived in accordance with our deepest values and aspirations. Freed from the tyranny of unexamined thoughts and reactions, we can make choices that align more closely with our true intentions. Our actions become more deliberate, purposeful, and authentic. So, let us consider a profoundly simple yet challenging question. What might your life look like if you lived each day as the true observer of your thoughts, rather than their servant? As we conclude this exploration, take a moment to reflect on the journey we've embarked upon together. The practice of not reacting to thoughts is not just about gaining peace or improving relationships. It's about awakening to our true potential and living from a place of deep authenticity and freedom. When you're ready to revisit any of these insights or to explore new dimensions of your spiritual journey, feel free to return to our discussions. Thank you for your openness and engagement on this transformative path.